How long's it been on the floor, do you know? I'll take it if it's been there a while.
Oh, that's chewy. No, still pretty fresh. Hi, Romero. How are you this morning? Good. How are you? Hi, Todd. Good to see you. Good.
Hey, Romero.
How are you? So, this morning we're going to go over the 12 conditions of management. We're going to start them up, and Mr. Robert Black is going to be our professor. All right, come on, Robert.
Yeah.
All right, let's go let Robert go.
Well, I'm almost excited to be here.
Woo!
Okay, we've been talking about making a culture and the importance of making a culture. And excuse me, I kind of got sick yesterday in the rain and being with a sick guy, so excuse me for blowing my nose and sneezing and stuff up here.
There it goes.
So we've been talking about them, and we're ready to get on to the 12 conditions now to make this culture work. The number one is knowing what's expected. Louise, do you know what's expected of you?
Consistency.
Consistency of what? You can be consistent in a lot of things, even bad things.
You consistently suck, right? If you're good at it.
Being engaged.
Being engaged at doing the wrong thing,
No, sir. Accomplishing the job.
accomplishing the job. Okay.
Go and accomplishing it.
So, knowing what's expected of you can be a little vague sometimes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I can say being engaged, but do we know what being engaged is?
I do.
You do know what it is?
Dedicated. Committed.
Okay.
Being really honored to be there, working.
Okay. Doing your best. I've got a couple things here. A quote I found online, and it didn't say who said it. Clarity is not always an attribute in which with abundant supply. Can that be true?
Say that again.
Yeah,
Clarity is not always an attribute that is in abundant supply.
Yeah.
Okay? So, how many times have we said go grab a hammer, a nail bar, and go demo that wall or that room or whatever?
All the time.
Okay. Is that good clarity?
Not really.
Not really. What happens when a guy pulls up a small ball peen hammer, a pair of plastic nitrile glove type things, and a little nail bar this big? Were we clear?
No, as Chris would say, they want to party.
They want to party.
They want to party.
So a lot of times, do we think we set clear expectations? The hammer, nail bar, gloves? And Romero thinks he speaks clearly all the time.
Hey, better, huh?
Okay. Clarity is a lot of times we need to think deeper than what we really think we're doing, right? A lot of times these people are new. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I get up there in a hurry and I'm trying to get through all this, and I say, okay, let's grab our hammers, nail bars, and you guys go do that room, and you guys go do that room. And I'm one of the first ones to miss it, okay? I'm not going to tell you that I do this perfectly, but I think we have the opportunity right here to be able to talk about it and figure out what to do and how to help each other be more clear. Okay? How many people ask questions?
Not enough.
Not enough. When somebody asks or tells you, go get a hammer, a nail bar, and a pair of gloves and start on that room, do you ask questions and say, which ones, or even better yet, the person that just said that. Now, do you understand what kind of hammer and stuff you need?
And they don't ask which wall.
Yeah. Which wall?
Ceiling.
How much will we remove?
How do you want me to start? Where do you want me to start? Yeah, Chris.
I think part of the process
is assigning the guy to the job and then hoping that they have some basic stuff so that when they get there, we can have a dialogue. So if you assign someone a task that is new, then the expectation is that you probably need to teach them.
Right.
If you send someone to do a job that they've had experience, say for like 8 years experience, and you say, here's a tile and mastic job, I don't expect to have a whole lot of communication with them. When they get there and they check it out, then they can have some conversation after that. But I think having the expectations is different. It is different from job to job, from person to person, from task to task, depending on who you are. You probably have a leadman that you could say, hey, go take care of that tile, and you don't ever have to give him any more instructions other than that, because he'll go there and take care of it. It won't be that big a deal, right?
Right.
So
And-
knowing the difference of when to have that additional dialogue.
Agreed. And that's a lot of my point here is we've got a lot of brand new people here right now, and we're hiring more all the time. Can I go to one of them and expect them to do the same thing as Sergio? No. Sergio understands what clear objectives are with less talking than say a new person does. Okay? Yeah, I know, and I've lost my sheet. I had a little book of my sheet with that, Aaron. I have some other notes here, but thanks.
There you go. I got your back.
Okay, so getting now, what he's got here is job responsibilities for the worker. To be on time, be safe, no horseplay, things like that. Have a good attitude, wear a uniform and steel toes and all your safety equipment. Bring all hand tools, follow instructions of the leadman and foreman. Work smart, so use caution, care for tools, trucks, and all equipment. It's not yours, show that you care about the company. Show initiative, finish the project with good quality and on time. Learn something new, and be 10 minutes early every day. That's what a good employee will do.
Well, we're talking about expectations, right? So right off the bat, somebody comes to work here, they're new, that sheet can be handed to them, and it's like, okay, let's talk about expectations. This, right off the bat, is the expectations we have of you, right?
Yep.
Just like your expectation of the company is that you're gonna have a safe work environment, you're gonna be trained and taught things, and you're gonna get a paycheck.
And challenged and
Yeah, I mean, that's expectations we all have. I have that expectation of the company, right? So being able to have somebody in the company hand you that sheet and say, okay, you're new, I'm gonna show you a whole bunch of stuff, but right off the bat, let me give you this is your responsibilities, this is what's expected of you right now.
you guys are new.
Yeah.
You feel like that we've gone over the company, as a company, people have gone over all this with you?
For the most part, yeah.
part, yeah.
A lot of safety meetings in the last few weeks. I think you should always be on time to whatever job you're at, 10 minutes early at that.
We went over that in the office.
Mm-hmm.
The horseplay one.
You have a problem with horseplay, Nancy.
All of us. Lee, he is the worst.
Matthew, when you came here, did you feel like that these were explained to you?
Yeah.
I don't know your name, I'm sorry. Michael? Michael, do you feel like that this has been explained to you? Do you know what tools you're supposed to bring on site?
Just bring them all, so I don't have to worry.
That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Because you should always be prepared, right? You bring your tools to work every day, Nancy?
I have the best ruler that anyone could ever ask for.
I ordered her tools for her, so.
Oh, okay.
She's wearing her safety glasses.
Yeah.
The ruler's a little crooked though.
It's not my ruler.
Okay, so that's one of the ways that we can show clear expectations. Now, as new employees, do you have the opportunity to set clear, or help the foreman have clear objectives about what you need?
Most definitely. It's just communication. if you have an opinion or you have a worry or something, you just need to voice that and they can help you out. Let you know who to talk to or how to take care of it.
Because what's it like the first time you need a day off or some time off for a doctor or whatever else?
Sucks.
That's not something we necessarily go over every time. And
Why are
who
we
do you
scared?
ask?
Why are we scared to ask for time off?
Then we don't want more time off.
You know what, Brett? You can have the whole week off.
I'm not scared to say something.
Get that rash looked at.
Go get that.
I think sometimes here it's hard to ask for when you're first started. It's hard because you don't even know who to ask sometimes. We got 6 people in production now. We got estimators. We got foremen. Who's the right guy to ask? You know, oh, I'm working with this foreman. Do I tell him? Oh, you know, do I tell just anybody? Do I tell this?
The brick wall.
Yeah, brick wall. Do I tell the ladies down in the office?
Project manager.
Usually that's what happens, and we send them back to.
So guys, we have lots of things that we need to be clear about, and we forget a lot of this stuff. And do we make it, our co-workers more at ease when we set these clear? Yes, I'm getting lots of this, but no talking.
Yes.
Okay. If you give clear expectations, let's just say Fred gave clear expectations to production and estimators and stuff. Does that mean that the person down below in the field is always going to receive those same clear expectations?
No, it's a game of telephone.
Game of telephone. Okay. So how do we make sure that we understand how do I explain this? What do we need to do? What do we need to do to make sure everybody gets the same picture?
It's communication.
Clarity.
Clarity, yeah.
I always tried to do in my morning meeting is after I would tell people what it is I wanted them to do, I would ask them to repeat back what their understanding of what I asked them to do is.
Okay.
And often it was good, and oftentimes I don't think that was very clear. Let's go back over it again. Make sure that they understood.
Okay, here's another question. What if they understand and they just don't buy into it? Has anybody ever thought of that?
That's a different discussion.
If we're setting clear expectations, are we not trying to set an understanding of why it needs to be done? How can that be different? If they don't understand why it needs to be done this way, we're not setting clear expectations. Am I right?
Well, usually when you're telling someone how to do a job and you're telling them to do that, you're telling them why also.
Yeah, but
You're never
that doesn't
told-
mean they have to buy into it.
Well, if they're not buying into it, then why are they here working?
Or maybe maybe the person they don't know how to do it, so that's why you have to show them how to do it.
Let me just use an example here. Do we talk about safety when we're driving the trucks? Yeah.
While we're driving, or?
It's on the cell phone too, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
It's on the
texting.
side.
Now, do we not have problems sometimes with people speeding, Romero?
Yep.
Yeah. So we talk about it all the time, but yet do we still have the problem with it? Do people are still driving fast? Why? Is it because they don't understand what our clear
Maybe they
expectations are?
Don't forget that we're estimator for the name.
Wait, what?
Built-in habits.
They have a heavy foot.
Built-in habits?
Yeah.
Why do we have safety meetings every day? About the same thing.
About the same thing.
We focus people.
To focus on,
Some people need more focusing than others, and you gotta repeat it every day.
Isn't that the emotional message of condition number 1?
Is focus me?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
Yep.
So we
It's
do it to
focus.
refocus.
Refocus. And that's my point here, is that we're trying to, now, in the past, before I came here, I was always taught that not only do we have to get them to understand what we need, but we need them to buy into it. So, Fred wants to build the company. We all want to build the company, but what if 1 or 2 people say, that's going to be too hard. I don't think we can do it. And so you have a clear expectation, but one or two people are going, I don't think we can do it, you know. I'm not sure, you know, are their hearts, they know what clear expectation is, but are they gonna give it all they got? No. So the importance here is not only setting clear expectations, but focusing them and helping them buy into it. Why do I need to be safe? Does that make sense? So we're focusing in a way that helps them understand. Does Carlos understand the same way that Leah does? Not necessarily. We got to approach it different ways. I'm getting an awful quiet audience now. Maybe I went too far.
I think you have to show people the way and lead people.
Yeah,
Some people need somebody to follow.
lead by example.
And you gotta lead by example, yeah.
Yeah, and that's was my next point is if we go back to demoing that wall, that room, or whatever else, do we set somebody in charge? Because if we don't, if we say you three go work over there, and there's no, then they don't have any account. You know, who's accountable for what? They get confused. They
Put yourself in charge. That's the.
Yeah, you need to be in charge, but you need to have somebody in charge of that little project too. If you're going to put 3 people in that room, you need to make sure somebody is responsible in there that you can come back to also. Right?
There's different tasks, yeah.
Yes, If it's the same task, then you set yourself up as the one. But yeah, what I'm saying here is just because you give them a task, you need to make sure that they understand who's in charge of it and who they come back to, and so on and so forth.
I think that's where that follow through comes back. You just don't push somebody. It's like you taking your car to the mechanic. You don't just take it to the mechanic and say, "Oh, it's fixed." You want to check it. You want to make sure it's right.
Yeah, you want to make sure that they're not trying to overcharge
Unless
you.
you dealt with that person for years and years and years, and you know what kind of service it gives you. Until that point, you still have to do that follow through.
Right, exactly. So, to show others how their work is linked with goals, do we ask questions? Yes. Should we ask questions? Yes. Okay. Let's move on to number 2, which is equipment. Or what are the types of ways that we can equip people here? Alex, what's one way we equip you?
Make sure we have the right tools and that we have the ability to be able to get the job done the right way.
Okay. Training.
Knowledge.
Excellent. What else, Mark?
Training, knowledge, understanding of not just what that specific task is, about the whole project.
Not giving them a simple little area, letting them understand the big picture.
Let them see the world, not just your city.
Yeah.
Basically.
What other ways?
Breakfast to energize them, make sure they're kind of getting off on the right foot. It's
Not
always
just
gonna be
kind
the
of, but
start
they
of
are
it.
getting off on the right foot, right?
Yeah.
Now, how many companies do you know that do something like that?
Not much.
Not much? Have you ever worked for one?
Not that's a consistent basis of getting it.
Okay, so isn't that pretty cool here?
Not that you don't get in trouble for it.
Yeah, working at McDonald's and stealing fries.
You can get a fry here and there. Don't get in trouble.
What other kind of equipment do we have?
Leadership with, I think one of the great things was regulations, learning them and the clear expectations to know what it is to help move up with the company, to help build the vision and build the company up of what we want it to be.
Excellent. Let me throw out some others that, do we have a employee handbook? Yeah.
Pathway to success.
Pathway to success, Do we have MSDS sheets? Or MSS sheets now, I guess. SDS, whatever, yeah. SDS sheets now. Do the estimators show the foreman and the crew what needs to be done, or production management, or whatever else? they clear the path for us, and hopefully we in turn do it all the way down so that we
I think
make
all
the
the
happy
tools and
customer.
all the experience and all everything that anybody needs to succeed in this company is there. It's a matter of that person and also the person that's teaching them. You know, to see how good they teach them and how if that person wants to move up, then he's gonna pay attention. He's gonna want to work and strive for that.
I've been here for 10 years, and if there's something that we don't have, we'll get it.
Yeah.
You know, we're always trying to find something better for you guys to make your job easier.
Except for jetpacks.
Except for jetpacks.
We're trying. We're still looking for them.
Still wants those jetpacks. I think
We're
you
going
just.
back and forth on what brand to buy.
Just whichever one's the more expensive one.
Now again, I want to play devil's advocate type thing here again and say, we give our employees the tools that they need. Let's go back to this hammer thing again. I made sure that they had a hammer. Is that the tool they need? What if it's that ball peen hammer again?
What if it's them knowing how to use that hammer?
What if it is? Yeah. Well, then we can train them and stuff. But do we? But here's a little example. The foremen get computers so that they can do their paperwork, right? Got handed a little computer, and
Good luck.
could I use that computer, Todd?
Your fingers are too big.
Remember that little thing that we talked about?
Yeah.
Okay. I could not type on that little keyboard. I kept hitting all sorts of keys. It took me forever to do the paperwork with it.
Because you have dedos, they'll salchichos.
So, what happened? We got me a different computer that
I would
was a
put
little.
pencils on your fingertips.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe I should have grown my nails out so I could, just.
Change your first name to Edward.
Okay, so sometimes we give people a tool and we think that it's, everybody else has this tool, but is everybody different?
The most important thing is to teach them how they use the tool.
That is the most important thing.
Yeah,
but it's also, but what I'm trying to get across right here is it's not only us teaching them, it's making sure they have the right one. Because not always is that hammer, now setting clear expectations again, it needs to be a construction hammer with claw hammer, with a straight claw, not a curved claw, things like that. We've talked about that. Here, we're saying we need to make sure that they have the right hammer. Maybe they only need a 4 ounce instead of a 12 ounce hammer or something, Making sure that they have the right one. That we're teaching them the right way. It might be that they need to learn a different way than somebody else. It might be that they need a little bit different tool.
Just so they can work efficiently.
So that they can work efficiently, because we're trying to get their strengths, not our strengths, not the ones that we perceive that.
So what you're saying is there's more than one hammer?
There is more than one hammer.
Just like there's more than one screwdriver?
There is. There's lots of hammers. I've seen screwdrivers that are hammers and wrenches that are hammers. There's lots of hammers.
Tape that are hammered.
And I find it funny because there's more hammers than any other kind of tool also. But we always seem to use whatever. And sometimes we have to do that in this job. Sometimes we have to get done what we have with what we have. But the point here is just because we give somebody a tool doesn't mean it's the right tool for them. Christian always says, some people tape from the left to right, some people tape from right to left. It's the same thing with tools. Somebody might be able to use this hammer really well. Some people might need a different hammer.
You mean if somebody cannot work with the white tape that we are using, we have to buy a special tape for this guy?
Maybe, I don't know.
What do people like churros?
Oh man, again?
I'd like to see that, Trace.
We won't be any better.
Be prepared for the wrath of Ramiro.
And Chris does not see a use for him. Put a churro right there.
Churros, you use that dumpster in Mesa though.
Oh, wow.
Churros came in handy.
Do not let facts in the way.
What happens in Mesa stays in Mesa.
Oh, I missed that one. Sorry.
Man, people here use the same tape we do. And man, they use churros, Chris. About 5 minutes later, he's like, that was my churros.
That's where they get it from.
They did look like his churros.
Estimated churros.
To come back to Carlos's point, you know, so if somebody can't use white tape, do we have to buy them a different kind of tape?
No.
Not necessarily. Maybe that's a tool that they can't use, but maybe it is a thing of training them or whatever else. I mean, pulling tape shouldn't be any different if it's gray tape or white tape, except for it might be a little stickier or something, you know.
That's where you use
But-
using their talents.
Yes.
You know this guy, and you know he's not great at taping. Then you move him to where he's good at. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's where the supervising the lead man comes in. Okay, he's not good at prepping. He's okay prepping, but he struggles with the tape. But he's good at demo, or he's good at bagging out, or he's good at something else. Then you switch him around.
Yes.
Work with them.
Yeah.
Work with them.
And you'll get more productivity out of someone if you play to their strengths. It's all you always want to build their weaknesses too, but you'll get more productivity out of someone if you play to their strengths.
We don't want them feeling like that they're left out in any areas that, you know, yes, but we want to put them in their strengths. But kind of back to the same thing, you know, we're talking about the hammers, the different kind of hammers and different things like that. What Carlos is kind of saying is, okay, so if they don't work well with this, do we have to get them something totally different? Not necessarily. We can trade, we can put them on a different job. We
have to show them.
Sometimes it's just a matter of showing them. Sometimes they just haven't really done it yet. Yeah, they can do gray tape great, but they haven't done white tape enough, and they don't know how to do it well yet.
It always starts with showing them, because every new guy comes in, you're like, holy hell. You never taped before, you never shoveled before. It's always showing. It's all about engaging. You have to engage them, teach them.
Train them.
Yeah, the emotional message is quit me, but what's your responsibility as a manager?
To show them.
To show
engage
them, to equip them with knowledge, to train, to train. And that's I think the point here is that we have to train so that they know what's going on.
We're gonna have to wrap you up here, Robert.
Yes.
Class starting at 7.
Can I update the picture?
Yeah, we need to get going. I just wanted to get one point across that I came across that I wanted to share. If we do not give people the access to the information and tools, they can get frustrated. And that can lead to discretionary effort, which in psychology is the difference between doing their bare minimum to get the job done or doing their very best. That's how important it is. We want to get, you know, as we were talking about developing a culture, we need engaged employees and engaged customers. In order to get that, we've got to do this, or else we can get the discretionary effort, and people are only just trying to get by. It also can lead to finding other ways to get the job done, which might not be proper, or to DAQ regulations or whatever else, because they feel frustrated and they're just trying to get the job done. Is that something we want? No. Do we want disengaged employees?
No.
Do we want it done the wrong way? No. So we need to make sure we're doing it all right. Okay? I appreciate the opportunity to be up here. Thanks.